Hey guys, Chris Ramaseda here with Relation RE at Real Broker. Appreciate you stopping by to watch my video. I know I dropped a bunch of stuff on social media yesterday talking about how I was going to be dropping a video today, talking about something that's huge in the market that I don't think we're paying enough attention to, and something that could really heavily impact the market and shift it substantially into a really bad situation. And I'm not an expert. I'm not anybody who's going to sit there and proclaim that I've done all the studies and research and I have all this education on being able to sit back and say that this is exactly what's going to happen. But I can tell you, I'm the type of person that when something comes to my attention, I do a bunch of research to see how this could impact things, and then I decide, is it worth getting out to you guys or not? And I do feel like this is something that needs to be shared and something that we do need to be talking about a little bit more as real estate agents and people within the industry. And this all actually just stems from a humor TikTok that I was watching the other day, and it was a guy who was pretending to be like a lender and a realtor, talking about, oh, you know, date the rate, ha ha, all lenders and all agents are saying this right now in like 2022. And then at the very end of the video, he finishes it with the stoic look on his face, staring at the camera with ominous music, basically saying, how'd that rate buy down work for you now? And I laughed. I was like, man, that's so true. Like 2022, that was all the talk. Every agent out there was discussing date the rate. Every agent out there was talking about get seller concessions to buy your rate down. You'll be fine. You can refinance in a couple years and you'll be okay. And nobody really thought about what the impacts would be a couple years down the road. And this is where I have a huge issue with that catchphrase of date the rate or even doing buy downs. It's not something that I even bring up or discuss with my clients because I don't trust it. I don't like it. And what's going on right now is the biggest reason why I don't ever advertise that or even push the 2-1 buy down or even push the date the rate topic, because we as agents and as individuals and people don't know what's going to happen with interest rates. And the truth is back in 2022, 2023, everybody thought rates were going to be down. In fact, going into the end of 2023, we all thought rates were going to be in the 5s by now. And obviously they're not. They're continuing to climb. They're sitting in the 7s and they haven't gotten any better. So anybody who did do that 2-1 buy down is in a tough spot right now. And this is something I think we need to be paying attention to, not only as real estate professionals, but also as a consumer. You may be asking, what is a 2-1 buy down? Now, again, I'm not an expert. I don't pretend to be an expert. I just educate myself on things as I realize I need to know more about this information. And so the little bit of information that I did gather on a 2-1 buy down essentially just is, you buy your house today and you get the seller to pay some concessions, or even you pay it yourself. And essentially what happens is you get 2% less on the interest rate of what it is currently today. So like at 7% today, your first year, your mortgage will be at 5%. And then going into your second year, it'll go up a percentage, it'll be 6%. And then from year 3 to year 30, it'll be at 7%, whatever the rate was that day on the market. So that's how people were able to kind of save themselves money up front, get a payment they were more comfortable with to get into a home, with the hopes that they'd be able to refinance it down and make that a permanent rate. Currently, I can say on my personal home, I bought it on a 30-year fixed at 5.35%. We're good. We're comfortable with that. We can make that happen with us. But on the flip side of that, let's just say that we had bought when it was 7.35 and I had purchased the home with a buy down to go to 5.35. 2 years later down the road, I'm now having to pay 7.35%, which I knew at the time I couldn't afford. So when that rate kicks in and I have to actually start making that payment, that's when it becomes a problem. This is what is going on still currently in the industry, and this is what is still being advertised and sold as a way to get around the high prices and the high interest rates, is just pay down your interest rate in a couple years, refinance it out of it, and you're going to be fine. This is going to cause a huge problem here in 2024. This began in 2022. We're now 2 years down the road, which means people have now seen the full 2 years of their 2-1 buy downs completely be exhausted. They're now entering year 3, going from year 3 to year 30 on a current interest rate that is probably around 7%, if not maybe a little bit less, but it's hovering around there. And the biggest issue about that is we're now in a situation where people are not going to be able to afford their homes. They qualified and were able to purchase their homes and were comfortable to purchase their homes at a 5% interest rate, but now they can't afford a 7% interest rate. And speaking to my lender that I work with on a regular basis, he said, look, this is something I don't like to offer, mainly because unless somebody can sit back and tell me they're going to have a huge substantial increase in their salary over the next 2 years, it doesn't make sense, because if they can't afford it today, how are they going to afford it in 2 years? And that's the problem we're looking at right now and the problem we're running into right now. I haven't ran the data yet. I haven't looked at the data as far as short sales and foreclosures, but I do know they are going up. Foreclosure numbers are going up, short sales are going up, and we're starting to see a situation where several people are out there right now and they can't afford their homes because cost of living has gone up, their interest rate has gone up, and they are not making any more money. So this is something to be heavily paying attention to. Is it a looming crash? I don't know. I can't 100% say, nor am I going to say that there's going to be a crash, but it is something to pay attention to, because as foreclosures and short sales go up, inventory is going to go up. You're going to see house prices drop, which means what is the market going to do from there? Because you're going to have a bunch of buyers that are capable buyers that are ready to go right now, and they're going to see these prices start to drop because of the fact that we're having more foreclosures and more short sales hitting the market, which means they can now enter the market, which now puts this weird balance of people entering the market to buy at lower prices. But we have, foreclosures hitting the market that are supposed to drive prices down, but people are entering the market to buy. It's a really weird, confusing thing that we're not going to really know what it's going to look like till we get there. I don't see it being similar to 2008, because of the fact that you're going to have this weird balance of buyers who've been waiting to get in the market and are going to jump as soon as prices come down or interest rates come down. And you're going to have these homes hitting the market for less because they're going into foreclosure or in short sale. And so it's this weird area where, like in 2008, you just saw the bottom drop out and nobody entered the market, nobody re-entered the market. It just, the bottom dropped out and that was the end of it. We have a lot of people waiting in the wings for things to happen to get into the market. So that is a real quick tidbit of information that I wanted to get out to you guys. Something to be very heavily paying attention to. I did try to do a bunch of research to see how many loans actually closed in 2022 and 2023 with 2-1 buydowns. That data doesn't exist. I can't find it anywhere. That I've Googled left, right, up, down to try to figure out what that information is. It doesn't exist out there. I did find some information on Freddie Mac's website that just kind of discussed what their input is in regards to the 2-1 buydown. And they basically, what I got out of their whole thing was that they found that staying at a 30-year fix, people actually end up paying less money than on a 2-1 buydown because of how that rate fluctuates and things like that. I can go ahead and link that in the video or in the comments here so you guys can go check that out as well. If you're looking to get more information on what a 2-1 buydown is, I can also send you a link that I did some research on to learn a little bit more about that. But that being said, something to be paying attention to. If you are looking to do a 2-1 buydown, please understand nobody can guarantee rates are going to come down. And right now, if you're getting a 5% interest rate and you can't afford a 7% interest rate, 2 years from now, who's to say that you're going to be able to afford that 7% interest rate? So if you have to wait a little bit, or you have to make some adjustments or save a little bit more or do something a little bit differently to make the deal happen, I highly recommend making it happen. As I tell all my clients and all my consumers, do not make a move if you're not comfortable making that move. Appreciate you guys watching the video. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And until I see you guys again next time, remember, you're more than a transaction.